So, have you ever thought about your health not like a diet, but more like a building project? A solid structure that you design for yourself piece by piece that's actually meant to last a lifetime? Well, that's what we're talking about today. We're going to explore the architecture of a healthy life that actually feels good to live in.
And let's be real, we have all been here, right? You decide on Monday, that's it, I'm changing everything. No carbs, 2 hours at the gym, meditate, drink a gallon of water, the whole 9 yards. This quote just nails what happens next. That radical transformation, it usually lasts about 3 days before the pizza starts calling your name. It's that all or nothing cycle that just leaves us feeling like we failed.
Okay, so if the big radical overhaul is basically doomed to fail, what's the alternative? How do we build that structure that lasts without getting totally burnt out? Well, the answer isn't some big secret, it's a blueprint. And the very first part of that blueprint, it's all about fuel.
So, our first pillar is fueling with strategy. And right off the bat, let's just forget the word diet. Seriously, diets are temporary. What we're talking about is a long-term strategy that isn't about restriction. No, it's about being smart and consistent with how you power your body. This right here is the 80-20 rule, and honestly, it's a total game changer. The idea is so simple. 80% of the time, you focus on fueling your body with whole, nutrient-dense foods. And the other 20%, that's for the pizza, the ice cream, whatever it is you truly love. And it's completely guilt-free. See, this isn't cheating. It's the built-in flexibility that makes the whole thing sustainable. Now, beyond that 80-20 rule, there are 3 really simple habits that build a super strong foundation. First up, hydrate. So often, our brain mistakes thirst for hunger. So before you grab a snack, just try a glass of water first. Second, make protein and fiber your best friends at every single meal. They keep you feeling full and satisfied, and that prevents those nasty blood sugar crashes. And third, just keep an eye on liquid sugar. Those fancy coffees and sodas, they're often packed with empty calories that don't fill you up at all. Okay, on to our second pillar, movement as celebration. Now, this one requires a pretty major mental shift. For any of this to work, we have to stop thinking of movement as a chore, or even worse, as some kind of punishment. Just think about this for a second. Exercise is not about burning off a cookie. It's about gratitude. It is a celebration of the amazing fact that your body can walk and run and lift and dance. When you start to frame it that way, movement becomes a privilege, not an obligation. And I'm telling you, that simple shift in perspective, it changes everything. So what does this celebration actually look like in practice? Well, it's got 3 key parts. First, just aim for about 30 minutes of moderate activity, like a brisk walk, most days of the week. Second, do not forget strength training. Keeping your muscles strong is absolutely crucial for a healthy metabolism. But the third one is my favorite. It's called NEAT. Yeah, NEAT sounds super scientific, doesn't it? Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Phew. But all it really means is finding ways to move more in your daily life. It's all the calories you burn outside of a planned workout. And trust me, it adds up to a huge amount over time. The big takeaway here is that you do not have to live in the gym to be an active person.
And it's surprisingly easy to get more NEAT into your life. We're not talking about big time-consuming stuff here. It's little things, like pacing while you're on a phone call, choosing the stairs, or parking just a little bit further from the store entrance. These are tiny decisions that, when they compound over time, build a more active life without you even really noticing.
All right, let's move on to our third and final pillar. We've talked about fuel and movement, which, let's face it, is where most people stop. But the real foundation of sustainable health, it lies in the things we so often overlook. I like to call them the unsung heroes. We are obsessed with what we can see, diet and the gym. They get all the attention. But kind of like an iceberg, the real massive foundation for lasting vitality is hidden beneath the surface. And it's built on 3 pillars: sleep, stress management, and social connection. If these aren't solid, I'm telling you, no amount of kale or crunches is going to make up for it. First up, sleep. 7 to 9 hours. Look, this number isn't a luxury, it's a biological necessity, just like breathing. Sleep is when your body does its most important work, repairing muscles, consolidating memories, and literally flushing toxins from your brain. It is absolutely non-negotiable. Next is stress. We all have it, right? But chronic, unmanaged stress is just a wrecking ball for your health. It floods your body with the hormone cortisol, which can lead to weight gain and burnout.
The key is you have to know what your personal reset button is. What's that activity? Reading, walking, a hobby that lets you disconnect and decompress. You need to have that tool in your toolbox. And finally, our last unsung hero is connection. I mean, this quote just says it all. Spending time with people who make you laugh is just as important for your longevity as eating your greens. We are fundamentally social creatures. Meaningful connections and laughter, they're not just nice-to-haves. The science is crystal clear. They are as critical to our long-term health as any vegetable. So, let's bring it all back together. We've laid out the blueprint, right? A smart fueling strategy, movement as a celebration, and a deep respect for those unsung heroes of sleep, stress, and connection. Now, it's time to start building. Ultimately, this whole approach is about shifting your goal. We're not aiming for a perfect diet or some flawless workout record. The real goal is to build a life that is energized, resilient, and joyful. It's about feeling good, not feeling deprived, because that is the only way this is ever going to last. And that brings us to the end. So forget the radical overhaul. Looking at this entire blueprint, what is one small, simple brick you can lay today? Maybe it's an extra glass of water. Maybe it's taking the stairs. Or hey, maybe it's just texting a friend to share a laugh. What's it going to be?